Donald Trump has nominated some pretty disastrous and unqualified people to his administration, but the worst of them all might just be his press secretary, Carolyn Litt. And although she does a pretty spectacularly bad job on her own, I do understand how the job gets more difficult when you don't have one, but instead two presidents to talk about, respond to, and deal with. And that is exactly what happened last night when she was asked about Elon Musk's latest illegal move regarding Social Security, and an interview in which she was trying to defend him on Fox and even on a softball network like that. It didn't go too well for Carolyn, and we are going to get into all of that and kind of the meltdown she had, but
I've heard, and you say if Joe Biden had done this, if Joe Biden had shown up at the Daytona 500 while there were people living under emergency declarations and passing away in Georgia, a tree fell into a guy's house and ended up killing him.
Do you think this is a fair comparison?
Oh my God.
That you're taking?
Oh
You're taking.
God.
This is not a hurricane event. You're talking about storm. So he needs to respond to every single death?
No.
Then he wouldn't be president.
Well, he needs to, I think, say something when the whole point was criticizing Joe Biden for absolutely everything that he ever did. I mean,
Because he never did anything. Start with
Really?
North Carolina.
That's not true. We've gone through it multiple times about how quickly he signed emergency declarations at this same.
How about East Palestine?
How about you just say that maybe you shouldn't be driving around a race car track when this is going on? You need to talk about the 3,400 people from the fire service that were fired, for instance. I mean, Donald Trump was out in California talking about how we need more people working on this, that you need to be raking the leaves. Then we're firing people. There, 57% of the land in California is run by the federal government. So you need to do that. Firing these disease detectives when we have measles outbreaks, you could talk about that. Go out to your home constituents and talk about that. The nuclear weapons workers that were fired and then they had to get rehired because that was a mistake. Or even on a day like today, and I understand that the plane flipped over in Canada, that they're firing air traffic controllers and they're showing no cause, not based on performance or conduct for doing that. They did it Friday night on Valentine's Day at 7 p.m. So
Not
you talk
Valentine's Day.
The best day of the year. No, but those are real stories that are affecting Americans on the ground. All right.
the Doge bags working alongside Elon Musk are not super geniuses. They are not the smartest people in the world. They're not even having basic qualifications to serve in the positions that they are. These people are causing problems, and they're also causing tension between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And that is really easy to observe, especially if you're paying attention to the discussion of their partnership in the right-wing media ecosystem, because there's so much conversation about, no, these guys love each other. They're really just trying to hype them up, which kind of instructs how I think about the relationship. But the best example of this, of course, did come from Carolyn Litt when she had this to say, right here.
Agree. And I witnessed this relationship firsthand every single day in the Oval Office and at the White House. And President Trump has tasked Elon Musk with administering his America First agenda, just like the rest of us who serve at the pleasure of the president, but most importantly, serve the American people. More than 77 million Americans re-elected President Trump to promote monumental, fundamental change, to shake up the Washington swamp. And there's nobody better than Elon Musk to do that. He is a once-in-a-generation business leader. He sent rocket ships to space. He's far smarter than many of the people who are grunting and moaning on Capitol Hill about these efforts are. And he's the perfect person to help President Trump with this effort. The mainstream media wants to drive a wedge between their relationship, but they are failing. And our entire team is unified behind President Trump to deliver on the promises he made to the American people on the campaign trail.
If you have to keep talking about how there's no tension, there's no problems, it's a great relationship, they're so happy together, maybe there's something under the surface there. Maybe there's a little bit more that meets the eye. When Donald Trump was asked about Elon Musk behind the Resolute desk on the cover of Time magazine, I think we get the best glimpse into this, just kind of, he was just angry. He loves Time. M magazine historically, always talking about how proud he is to be on the cover. And response was like, oh, are they still in business? Clearly, it got under his skin. And of course, Elon's failures are really bothering him, the latest being his insane attack on Social Security. Carolyn was responding to that right here.
I've been fighting fake news reporters all day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system, honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and scare you into believing otherwise. This is what we've seen them do about President Trump for years with every promise that he has made. And he's going in there to protect your hard-earned money. That is the ultimate goal.
Two things on those two short clips. So the first being the acting head of Social Security just had to resign because of the legal action Elon is taking to invade the agency. So I think people do have a reason to be worried about their Social Security. And what does Carolyn mean when she says, if you paid into it, you'll get it? Does that mean if you paid into it and you're already on it? Does that mean if you've paid into it for 20 years, 10, 15, I've paid into Social Security? What does that mean? That doesn't really communicate a lot. And again, this is kind of all part of it. They want to give us as little information as possible as Elon rips the system apart. And that's their ultimate goal. It's incredibly scary for one of the most important institutions in America. And Lawrence O'Donnell did a great job talking about that in a clip I want to check out right here.
Elon Musk is now inside Social Security. And so for the first time in American history, Social Security payments are not guaranteed. Since the delivery of the first Social Security check in 1940 to the first Social Security recipient, Ida Mae Fuller, Social Security checks have never been a day late or a dollar short, not once. But Elon Musk's illegal specialty when he takes over agencies of the federal government is to stop payments. And so these 71 million people who receive Social Security payments every month for the first time in history can no longer be sure if the next payment is coming. Michelle King was the acting commissioner of Social Security until either yesterday or today. Rumors started reaching me early this afternoon from people with expert knowledge of the workings of Social Security that the Musk coup at Social Security was underway. There is a line of succession for acting commissioners of Social Security. When a commissioner of Social Security leaves office before a new commissioner has been confirmed by the Senate, then the deputy commissioner shall be the acting commissioner, according to that written line of succession. And that is exactly how Michelle King, who has been with the Social Security Administration since 1994, took office. But when Michelle King was forced out of that office, the line of succession was violated. And Donald Trump appointed another Social Security employee, Leland Dudek, as the acting commissioner of Social Security after Leland Dudek posted favorable comments about Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government efficiency on social media. Leland Dudek was a senior advisor at Social Security for the Office of Program Integrity. That means he was an IT guy. The IT guy is now the acting commissioner of Social Security, the single biggest item in the federal budget, way bigger than the Defense Department. There was no reason to believe that this day could ever come. Yes, Republicans opposed the creation of Social Security in 1935 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, following the design for the program created by the first woman member of the cabinet, Secretary of Labor Frances Perkins, Republicans insisted that it was out-of-control socialism and unconstitutional. Frances Perkins designed the Social Security system with its dedicated tax, payroll tax, funding directly from our workers' paychecks in such a way that once it was enacted and in place, Franklin Roosevelt said, quote, "No damn politician can ever scrap my Social Security program." Democrats had overwhelming majorities in the House and the Senate in 1935 and could pass the Social Security Act without Republican support. But when the final votes came, several Republicans in the House and the Senate then joined Democrats when they saw how popular Social Security was even before it existed. The first Republican president elected after the creation of Social Security, former General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who conquered Germany in World War II, said at the end of the second year of his presidency, 14 years after the first Social Security check was issued, in a letter to his brother, quote, "Should any political party attempt to abolish Social Security, unemployment insurance, and eliminate labor laws and farm programs, you would not hear of that party again in our political history." In that same letter, President Eisenhower referred to some rich right-wing Republicans who wanted to end Social Security in the 1950s. He called them a tiny splinter group and said, "Their number is negligible and they are stupid." They are stupid. That is the clear wisdom of Dwight D. Eisenhower speaking from the grave about what is happening at Social Security tonight and the person who is doing it. Elon Musk. 58,000 people work at Social Security.
This is kind of the point for Elon and Trump. The mass resignations, the mass firings, the mass purges. They want the agencies to look dysfunctional, so they have a reason to get rid of the social safety net that's been holding up our country since the 50s and 60s like that. That's kind of the plan. That's what they're all about, is if they can make government look dysfunctional, then they can try to it apart. And so that's why it's so important for people to continue to fight back and make clear the reasons they have to resign are the reasons they're being fired, for us to lift up those reasons and talk about them, which, of course, we're going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, you leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.